Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been doing well. Today, we've got the boy 24,000 Power Level Vegeta in hand and ready to review. Now, let's start by addressing it. This dude was not catching the best, reviews on the internet as soon as he dropped. But it does seem like people are liking him a little bit more now that they've had him in hand and been able to pose him and whatnot. But with this review, it was definitely a little bit backwards than how I usually do my stuff. So bear with me. I had a lot of opinions to give regarding this Vegeta. Just, as a Vegeta fan, it's one of those things where it's hard for me to say it's 100% bad or 100% good. It's just one of those type of figures. So bear with me. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the review. All right, so out the box, judging this guy. Yes, he's got these big ass shoulders, bro. I don't know why they did that. It looks wonky. I mean, you can kind of hide it if you push him up with the shoulder pads, but then the shoulder pads start to pop out. Now, when we first got a reveal of this guy, I was really annoyed because his shoulder pads were constantly like not fully popped in. It didn't make sense to me that they would want to show him off like that, because you're showing him basically not being able to be in a neutral position. And I get that. Yes, let's just wait to see how he looks in the hand. Da, 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 da. But at the same time, while being a Vegeta fan, like I'm willing to fight for my boy Vegeta. Okay, this thing it was very shocking to see them continue to pose him like that, because it doesn't do the figure enough justice, like to show that it is not all that bad, right? And it just looked worse and worse. However, in hand, now that I have it, I feel like it's okay, but it's not. It's okay, but it's not okay. I don't know how to explain it to you. If I use his butterfly joint, right, it's gonna affect the shoulder pad, and I don't necessarily like that, because you can never really have a true, thing down and him posed. It's always gonna look a little weird. Now, granted, other figures have had this feature with the swivel in the back for the shoulder pads, but the design just made sense for it. With Turles, I felt it was a little bit more seamless, and that's probably because he didn't have these big old shoulders. And I mean, the shoulders are freaking wider than the bicep, which is okay. But I don't know. He could be a lot better, but he's okay, I guess, enough. It's a weird way they went with the 2.5 type of deal, with mixing new technology and old technology with it. But I still feel like they could have taken one extra step to make him more, I don't know, have some extra oomph to him. Like, for example, and I mean, we're jumping around here, but you've got to get the rants out early. So, the legs. He's one of the few figures that they are making new that can still do a back kick. But why did they have to add these butt flaps? I genuinely think that the butt flaps could have gone, and they could have just given him a solid thigh there. And, that would have been a lot better. Granted, yes, they still are doing that thing where the butt flap covers the back here, which you wouldn't be able to do a back kick, but they probably could have avoided that still, for the most part. Still, it's alarming in some ways that we don't have a 3.0 armor type of Vegeta yet, when they possess the engineering and technology and the means to make him now. I don't know why. Now, I can be patient, don't get me wrong. I can be patient. But it does put me in a very interesting spot to think about, like, why haven't they even teased the thought of one yet? This right here doesn't feel like a true tease to me, because, yes, he's got this new style here at the upper body, but that was always going to happen, right? Like, ever since they started doing it with what character? Armor Broly? Maybe someone else? It was always going to happen whenever they made this Vegeta, right? Like, that was inevitable. But I thought they would do more. And the arms, I can get over the arms being a little bit skinnier. I mean, in the Namek Saga, Vegeta it depends on, it depends on the animation with the scenes you look at, the references. In some places, he looks skinny. In some places, he looks a little bit more wide, right? It's never perfect, never the most accurate depiction. But again, could be a lot better. Legs, they articulate just fine. I mean, it's like he's okay, but he's not. That's the best way to describe him. But taking all that away, if we move away from anything below his neck, you know, there's a lot of good up there. So let's talk about that. His head sculpts look very, very nice. I love the detail in them. I want to see this more for the line. They've begun to do it a little bit more often, and we're getting Kui this July, and that one, incredible. I love how accurate those faces are depicted, especially with the what move is it? The dirty fireworks move. And I actually almost forgot that he is going to be coming with hands for Vegeta to do that, so that's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, let's talk about the articulation. Let's dive deep here real quick. I know we're jumping all over the place, but I had to get through the rant of talking about just the figure aesthetic, because I'm fine, like I can deal with it, but it's just why, you know. But I'm gonna start from bottom to top this time around. We're gonna keep it a little spicy. So these ankles here, they're not the worst, but they're obviously not anything close to what we want right now, especially with what kind of figures we're getting and how they're engineered. They could have absolutely done something like Legendary Super Saiyan Goku here and made us have some good boots for Vegeta. The only good boots we have for Vegeta at this point in time is Super Saiyan 4. And listen, the fact that Super Saiyan 4 is the only Vegeta figure that is updated with all the new latest tech, crazy to me. I love my boy Vegeta, and I love Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but they gotta get their game on, man. Because if Super Vegeta comes out and he's not updated, that will be like a blow to the gut. I'll be real with you. But yeah, it's pretty standard. He can't really do a full, you know, thing there with yeah, he can't. You can try to, and you can try to maneuver and make it so that he can evenly stand still, but also have a little bit of curvature there with the ankle, but it's not going to be where you want it. And you're probably going to be faced with him having to, you know, stand a little bit unevenly for some poses, and that's why we're going to have to use a lot of stands for him. Now, he's got his toe hinge, which is not anything crazy because I can't even put the toe hinge all the way up, unfortunately, so that sucks. His legs, they are double jointed, of course, and they bend all the way back, which is great. He can do a knee up and he can kind of pull his leg out, but again, these butt flaps are in the way. Don't know why they felt we needed butt flaps when they could have just removed them and given us a regular thigh piece here or butt piece here like all the other figures have, like the 3.0s. I got the Goku here, just like this piece right here we could have gotten moving into the ab crunch here. It's not that good. I mean, I hear a snap in there and I'm hoping that I'm not breaking something, but that's not the best. Yeah. But then again, I'm not expecting the armor variants to be the best in the ab crunch department, but they do need to figure out something to kind of get them there. Usually the Vegetas have like a hinge in here. I don't know if he does or not. And I don't want to risk taking it apart because sometimes it's actually really hard to take these waist off. But there's no articulation really there, so you're gonna have to use the crotch area a lot for that. He does have the side to side movement, which is nice. Butterfly joint. Yeah, it's rough out here. I don't know, can he do a Final Flash? And granted, this is not Final Flash Vegeta, but you have to put his arms above the plate. I don't know if they can do, I'm curious if they can change that at all and make that a little bit better so you're not having to sit there and do these kind of weird switch ups just to get the pose, because that is a little, not alarming, but it could be a lot better. And maybe they could add a swappable thing here. I think they did that with the Armor Gohan, so he had a little bit more movement. I think they did that, but They could have probably made this swappable with a slimmer chest piece so you can actually get his arm across without having to put it above just like that. But you know, that's as far as you're getting with that. So he can do the T-pose, the classic T-pose. Can he do it with the armor on? Kind of. We gotta plug and play a little bit. Yeah, he can do it with the armor, so not bad. And actually you could do the wild hunt look with him, so that's pretty cool at least. Now talking about this neck, man, I don't know if this is like for everybody. I really don't check out everybody's reviews before I actually get to like get the figure in hand, because I want to have first impressions for myself. But I am gonna have to look back and see if people were dealing with this, because I do like that he has a lot more range in the neck. A lot of the figures don't. Even some of the 3.0 figures have a hard time moving their neck, and I like this freedom here. I just don't like that there's such a big gap if you want him to look up. And I don't know if that's something that was intentional or if that's just my figure, but I would like to see this kind of movement more on figures going forward, because the standard head just moving on a double ball peg is cool. I like it. However, I also need that neck movement for full range, because having the head look like this when the neck is straight like that just looks weird to me. And being able to actually turn the neck so it looks like that, where it's accurate, way better. All right, now that we've gotten all of our ranting out the way about the figure's articulation and the design choices, let's actually be nice to the figure and talk about his face plates and the other accessories. So I'll be right back. Gonna swap those out and we'll have some fun. All right, so one of the things when it comes to Dragon Ball SH Figuarts is these crossed arms. Vegeta has had a lot of crossed arms over the years, and they're all more or less the same. Usually, you have to take the arm off at the bicep and you attach it to the shoulder for the crossed arms. However, Tamashii finally changed it, and now you have a full shoulder and bicep to arm to wrist crossed arms. This is the dream. This is what I've been waiting for, because I'm so tired of putting those crossed arms in for Vegeta and them just not staying in the peg. Even when I fully extend out his butterfly joints and they don't stay in, it just didn't make sense to me. But this is a lot easier. This is going to work for me a lot better, and it's just going to overall be a lot less annoying. This is actually what I like to see for the Android 17 figure, as well as I believe Android 21. I believe they had that, but it's just way easier, and I that's the basics of it. So we can just put it in the pegs, and I actually don't know, these don't separate, do they? Oh, maybe it does. Hold on, we're having a revolution here. It does. This is amazing. This is exactly what we needed. This may be the saving grace of this figure. Okay, this is actually amazing, because geez, man, these things are so annoying sometimes to put in, and the fact that they're really responding and giving us easier ways to put these arms in is just what I've needed for so long. Okay, now, did I put them in correctly is the question in hand. Okay. Trying to make sure that the shoulder armor, yeah, that looks good. That looks freaking good. Now imagine if the freaking bowling ball arms, or shoulders I mean, were like this size. The proportions just, it looks a lot better like that. And as you notice, we're doing everything very backwards today. But we've got the gritting teeth face here, and we're gonna go to the yelling expression here. Now, if you didn't know, you could take the ear out and the scouter out. This is what I've been waiting for. You know, Zarbon had this feature before, I believe, with the, I believe it was Zarbon. He had the ability to change the ear as well as the scouter. And I believe Bardock has the option to change the ear and the scouter as well. So I'm glad that this feature is making a return. Any characters that they ever do that are Saiyan Saga or Bardock Special Saga, whatever it's called, the Bardock Special, and we get like any of Bardock's, team or whatever, Fasha, all of them. I hope that they continue to do this, because having that option to be able to have the Scouter on off on any faceplate is great. This is what I wanted. But as for the actual expression itself, I really love that exaggerated look, and it just, again, I love the stylized stuff. It works so freaking well. It's amazing. All right, and next up we're gonna go with the smirk and the stern expression. That looks like a smirk as well, kind of, just because it's Vegeta, that confident, that pride. They both kind of look like a smirk, or a light smile, I guess you could say. But yeah, you can see he's got his ear here, these big ass ears. You can swap them, take them off, and we can put them on to anybody else. They all have a little slot right there on the side, and it stays in fairly well. I haven't had any issues with this sliding out. So yeah, so far, so good. Now you're probably wondering, where are the hands? You didn't show those. All right, he doesn't have that many hands. He has about like 10 pair, or not 10 pairs, but 10 total hands. But about 4 sets worth of hands, which, is fine. They could have given him the finger bang hand, and I don't know why they didn't do that, unless they're going to randomly throw it in with some other character like Nail, or maybe even Monster Zarbon. I don't know. Those are in the running. We don't know when they're going to come, if they're ever going to come. They, of course, have these kind of clenching hands, key blast hands, whatever you want to call them. There's a different many array of names we can use for it. Very basic, nothing crazy. And of course, we've got the Big Bang, or just general key blast hands. One thing I will say about all of Vegeta's hands thus far between the various different figures is I wish it was a bit more consistent in the color choice. I know that they kind of pick and choose, based on the actual appearance of the character. So like Superhero Vegeta, for example, in that art style from the movie, has a little bit more darker gray tone on his gloves. I get it. But in general, I think that most of the Vegeta should just have the same tint of gray and white. It shouldn't vary too much. Alright, so we've hit the conclusion of this review, and I know it was very different. I chose a very weird place to start with the figure, and we went bonkers from there. But this being Vegeta, I don't know. I had more hopes for him, and I mean, at the same time, I like the figure. It's hard for me to say no to the figure and just say it's horrible, because genuinely, when I posed it and whatnot, I still had a good time, right? Like, I still recreate some poses. I just wish that they had taken that leap to make him more updated. But yeah, overall, I mean, he was a premium Bandai release. That did mess with me a little bit as well. I don't know why they feel they need to put all these Vegetas to be premium Bandai, personally. We don't, in comparison to Goku, I just feel like we don't have enough. And I get Goku as the main character, don't get me wrong. They also like to have entry figs to the line, but I feel like Vegeta could be getting a lot more at this point. And while I do appreciate the line taking a chance to expand, go in other areas where you probably never would have expected them to, like Kui, for example, I do want to see them still give some, good omens to the other characters. Because this Vegeta, again, could have been something brand new. The Vegeta that we're getting next year, the old Battlesuit Vegeta, while it makes sense for them to basically just reuse this mold because he literally just takes the armor off and slips on another one, and it's the same body and whatnot, so it makes sense. It definitely could have been way better, just for the posing capabilities and whatnot. And what they have shown just puts me on the mindset that we should be getting, realistically, we should be kind of getting bangers all the time. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely going to be ones that are just, oh, here reuse, here's a budget figure, and that's fine. But when we get new stuff, especially premium Bandai stuff, just, I feel like the effort could be a little bit more pushed out there. So that's kind of my thoughts. That might be a kind of a wild take in this video overall. But in essence, I like the guy and also just wish for better. I do love the improvements and the vast difference between the Saiyan Saga Vegeta and this Namek Saga Vegeta. If you do get the Dragon Stars Vegeta, I've heard that you can just use that bottom portion to put on this Vegeta, and it looks like the Saiyan Saga version. So you're kind of ahead of the game if you got that already. But I have no doubts in my mind that we'll eventually go back to the Saiyan Saga and get way better versions of like Nappa, Saiyan Armor, Vegeta, Goku, all that stuff eventually. It may take some time, but it will happen. It will happen someday. Alright. Anywho, that has been this review. It's been pretty wild, pretty up and down, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys leave some thoughts in the comments below. And anywho, there's news to be reported, so I've got to go. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.